Get this on the Triple M network.
It's myself, Tony Martin, who yesterday revealed the show only has 6 weeks to go.
I think it's terrific.
Yeah, all right. Isn't he having a gloat? Ed Cavalier, who reckons he's qualified to do all kinds of other jobs.
Hey.
It's not that funny. And, of course, pushing the buttons, Richard Marsland, who's more concerned about the rare spotted Gippsland moth.
Yes, I know, but I will take an interest in that moth.
Guy loves moths.
Everyone's here.
Has the ALP released their moth policy at this
Not
stage?
yet. Their beetle policy is really looking good.
Oh, and their butterfly thing is
Some of their
amazing.
crustacean ideas are really cutting through.
Oh, look.
All across arachnids too.
Welcome to Get This.
All across arachnids through your workday.
We must thank the listeners. We've got to thank the listeners. The emails are coming in thick and fast.
Yes.
Here's what I did last night. I didn't get any sketches written because I was just sitting in front of my computer, refreshing one page every 30 seconds.
Hotlabs.org.
Hotlabs.org. You can't get on there.
No, really?
There's such a queue.
Oh,
Even
man.
with broadband, you can't get onto steaming hot Labradors.
Now, this is on your dial-up, isn't it?
Yeah, I am on the dial-up. See, now that everyone else has abandoned the dial-up, it's
Yeah.
actually quite fast.
That's not true, Tony. That's like your theory about the horse and carriage. Now that all these idiots have cars, the horse and carriage lane is clear.
What is the name of that website, Mr. Marsland?
I found it this morning.
Petitions or something?
Petitionspot.com.
Petitionspot.com. There's one about Get This winding up. The comments are hysterical. Very sad. I'm not making fun of people's emotions, but man, they're cracking some funny lines. There's some gold on there. Get on. Go to petitionspot.com.
Now, is there one on there for the lack of cappuccino Vienetta in the freezers of your local supermarket these days?
That's so big it crashed my browser several times.
Right.
The Monaco bar one. It's
Oh,
massive.
unbelievable. Cappuccino Vienetta, Tone. Coffee and ice cream. Who'd have thought they'd get along? I tell you what makes you look good at a party. I used to show up to swank parties when I was doing my arts degree. Nothing, berets and discussion of Foucault and such. And Cavalier would roll in with a couple of Vienettas, one under each arm. Boom. Turn that boring cheese soiree into a free-for-all.
Did you just go in and chuck them in the bath with all the other Vienettas and then try and eat someone else's slightly better brand Vienetta later and claim that's the one you brought along?
No, what I would do is I would open the packet,
Yeah.
and I learnt this way of slowly revealing it out of the packet.
See, I think your Vienetta talk was too fruity.
I could go one right now.
Yeah, but we didn't get that sponsorship. Listen to this. Newstopia went out last week. You saw it, Ed, didn't you?
I was on it.
How were you impressed with Marsland's name in the credits? Fantastic, wasn't it?
No, it was huge.
There was no material in the show by Richard
not at
Marsland.
all, no.
But the name was spelled correctly and the font was well chosen.
Very nice of them to include my name in that one.
This person here says, I have to say, you guys said Richard didn't have anything on the first episode of Newstopia, but there was a very conspicuous reference to upskirting that I immediately attributed to the man. Was I wrong? My other final question is Ed Cavalier technically a giant? On all the photos of your show from the website, Ed seems to be shuffled up the back to take the focus away from the fact he resembles a parade float. If nothing else, it explains why the female guest stars on Thank God You're Here are always trying to kiss him. Who could resist such an engorged man-brute? Thanks for all the great times, guys. Steve.
Cheers, Steve. Make sure you jump onto Ed Cavalier's a Spunk on Facebook. Join the Dude Parade. I don't know if I like to be known as a float, Tone.
Well, would you prefer to be known as an engorged man-brute?
Yeah.
Engorged Man-Brute, Ed Cavalier, every afternoon on Triple M. Around the nation, what have you got for us?
This is all a bit harsh. This is all a bit.
What's too harsh, EMB?
It's all a bit lowbrow. It's all a bit.
Come on.
Well, let's class it up a little. Why don't we go to the world of chess, the classy world of chess, Richard? Something classy, if you will.
Okay. Are you on classy music?
Oh man! For 3 minutes, I said, "Can you have something classy
I
ready?"
heard you.
And
You
he's
were-
just sat there replaying the bit of the Newstopia credits on his computer and pausing his name and getting girls from the sales department to come and have a look.
How's this?
Oh, perfect! Yeah, no, perfect. Yeah, thank goodness.
It's time to talk chess, obviously.
Smack up pinata. All right, well, listen to this, Richardo and Tony.
Yeah.
There's a 9-year-old chess competition which is going on. The 2007 Chess Kids National Inter-Schools Championships. More than 400 kids.
Wow, here in Australia.
The top 3 players will go to the international finals later on in the year. Some really smart kids.
Sure.
When I went down there yesterday and had a look at around the ruler over some of the kids who were pretty good,
Yeah.
and have a listen to what one of the competitors had to say.
Yeah.
I'm Richard, and you 9-year-olds are so bad at chess. I almost beat like some of you. If only my silly horsey didn't keep getting eaten by that one with the castle bit on him. In Idol, I vote for Matt Core because he's got a floppy nose.
That's chess.
Unbelievable.
That's sports for another round on Get This Around the Nation, described in the Melbourne Age today as a successful annoyance for the Austereo network.
iBagSuccessfulAnnoyance.com. That's my website. Got it. That and widestance.com.
White stance type. That is all you, Rich.
Okay, politics, local politics.
Local.
Looking for headlines today. John Howard plans Kyoto-style policy. John Howard has announced that if re-elected, he will ratify a Kyoto-style agreement. Style, not actually the Kyoto Agreement, Kyoto-style. Is that like ranch-style windows on your house?
Lovely.
Oh, now I'm living on a farm. There's so much aluminium out in the country. It's like non-dairy creamer, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Have you ever heard that phrase?
Non-dairy creamer, yeah.
Here's your non-dairy creamer, they'll say to you in America. You go, hang on, a brick would be technically a non-dairy creamer. What do you mean non-dairy creamer?
It's just liquid paper, isn't it?
A Kyoto-style policy coming our way.
Maybe it's Kyoto style, like,
Yeah.
Or is it Kyoto Light? Diet Kyoto.
I don't know.
What is the Kyoto Protocol anyway? Like, what do we all? If it got ratified, what does that mean for Foxtel?
I don't
You
know.
what I mean? Is there going to be less channels?
I'm just
Are
distracted.
they going to get rid of the scrapbook channel?
Here's a headline that's got me distracted in the paper today. How I beat off a great white shark. Sorry, is that something you've been working on in your spare time, Richard? Thanks to everyone who's calling in, emailing. The phones have just been going continuously since we made the announcement yesterday. A lot of people calling up just wanting to give somebody, anybody.
One, right up the bracket.
Still don't know what that means.
I'm
though.
going to miss that guy. I'm going to take that with me when we go.
I'll bet you are.
Really?
And so much stuff too.
Yeah.
Your boot is going to be chockers.
It's going to be like Molly Meldrum taking the episodes of Countdown.
Sure it will be.
Or
Priceless
Wilkins
crabs.
with keynotes.
A lot of things to take care of. You know, people are really happy that you're going to fulfil so many of your so far broken promises.
Look at this,
Ed,
Tone.
over the next few weeks.
You got? You want to talk about that now?
Sure. What have you
Okay,
got?
cop this.
Yep.
So yesterday, I'm walking past. Ow!
Okay.
He's hit himself again. He's injured himself twice already in one broadcast.
Man, that's
Right.
my thinking knee.
Right in the bracket.
We need to get an oversized studio built that you will look normal sized in.
No, how Gulliver felt. Those travels of his. Always getting tied down by the midgets. Anyway, walking past a guy yesterday who was asking for money outside a train station.
Yeah,
right? He was
yeah.
asking everybody.
Oh,
you
he
know,
was the previous occupant of this time slot.
I know you. Anyway, so he's walking past everyone. Can I have some bucks? Can I have
Yeah.
a few bucks? Can I have a few bucks? Can I have a few bucks?
Sure.
I walk past him, goes to ask, stops and goes, how's it been going today, mate? And I was like, why didn't he ask me? And then my friend said, because you look worse than he does.
Oh, you look like...
I looked like I was getting his hand-me-downs and chucking them on and wandering around the streets.
He's just offering you his hat full of money. Go and help yourself,
You
whatever.
need it more than I
Do
do.
you want a guitar? Take the guitar as well.
It was, I'm in my normal tracksuit pants,
Yeah.
grey shirt, which I just can't get the stains out of. I don't know what they are. I
Yeah.
think they're oil-based.
Yeah.
So here we go. Now, Richard as well is always presented in an old polo shirt,
Yeah.
kind of, I guess you'd call them pimples on his arms, and in a giant bouffant.
Yeah.
Green pants, brown shirt, green shoes. I'm dressed as a tree today.
But what does that have to do with one of your
It
promises?
reminded me that I promised that we would go shopping together, Richard.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, you were going to do a shopping montage.
We were going to do
with
a...
brown-eyed girl underneath.
We were going to do a gorgeous shopping montage. So what I've done here, Tony Martin,
Yeah.
is during the song I've thought about doing this,
Yeah.
and I've written these stores out, Rich, and you're going to shop for me, and I'm going to shop for you, and then we have to wear them to an event which I've RSVP'd on your behalf.
Now, hang on. I thought the idea was you were going to fulfill all the promises you've previously not lived up to over 2 years. You're just giving us new ones now.
No. But this is part of the shopping one. But this has now got a reason. Here you go, Rich. There are now 3 options.
I don't remember the
Pick
shopping
one, and this is the store that I will be going in to choose your outfit for this event.
So this is like a raffle draw.
Here we
It's
go.
pretty much a raffle draw.
Live on air.
Take that one.
Yep.
Okay, what did you get? How'd you go?
We've got Super 8.
Okay,
Super 8, yes. Bang.
so I'll be going into Super 8 to pick an outfit for you.
Well, I hope they got some new stuff because I got all their old gear.
Well, you did well actually, Rich, because out of 3 options, 2 of them were leather store and 1 was Super 8. So, damn it.
And you've also got to go to Bathurst on a date with somebody. There's so much here.
No.
There are so many challenges.
All right.
People want you to do that show from inside the canvas sack.
Yeah, no, can do. But look, this is going to happen. Rich and I are off somewhere. He will be dressed completely head to toe in Super 8.
That's Wang Chung. Of course it is. The Chung here. And get this around the nation. Dance hall days. Fine
Wang
work.
Chung.
No, not Wayne Chung.
Not Wayne Chung.
That would be ludicrous. Wang Chung.
Oh, whoops. That was Wayne Chung.
Annabelle Chong? No, that's not
Oh,
right.
that's rude.
That's not right.
Rude.
Everybody Annabelle Chong tonight. There's a very strange video clip.
It's a long night.
Gaffes and Blunders. That's what we're talking about today because it's the start of the election campaign, and usually about now, somebody says something stupid. It's usually about now. It's all people trying to catch each other out on facts. What's the interest rate? What's the pension age? Name the last 3 Dean Geyer albums. Just facts. I'll just throw the Prime Minister facts
Fringe, Rush, and Backflip.
in the middle of an interview to try and catch them out. Have there been any so far, Rich? Anything big?
Apart from the Prime Minister meeting with the exclusive brethren, apart from that, last night on a
Am I
current
in
affair.
that? How do I get into the exclusive brethren?
Too exclusive for you.
Oh, what?
And last night on a current affair, Tracy Grimshaw gave him a pop quiz, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Like this.
Quick pop quiz. What's the current average weekly wage in Australia?
Well, it's about at an annual level, it's just over $50,000 a year.
It's actually $867 a week. The official reserve bank
Well,
interest rate?
I've given you. Well, it's 6.25.
6.5 actually.
We haven't played with that, but that was his reaction. For anything.
But we get that reaction a lot around here. Hey, what about Ed doing the whole show from inside a canvas sack?
Oh,
Hey, what about we give away that Stephen Seagal 7-pack on all our competitions this year? Yeah. That's where the trouble starts. Okay, faux pas and gaffes. Obviously, we've said something. I think something happened yesterday. We were quite polite, I thought. We were trying to tell the listeners what actually was happening without getting too nasty about it. I understand we were taken off in Adelaide.
Right.
A lot of people are emailing us saying that they ran Get That, the best of Get This.
Oh, which is exclusively for bakers.
That's right.
It
I
won't
mean,
make any sense if you're not a baker.
Nonsensical in the afternoons.
Constant dough references.
It's designed specifically for people wandering home from a nightclub, covered in their own filth.
Lovely.
At 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and or pastry chefs working at that time of the morning.
We'll take either.
I had to call my dad yesterday, and he thought we had a day off. He thought we were taking it easy because we were replaying a show. He's a massive fan. He particularly likes a segment, and my mum as well, called Up the Mountain.
That's this one, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that what they call Talkback Mountain?
That's right. They call it Up the Mountain.
God bless them.
But what did we say yesterday where they wouldn't run it in Adelaide? What did we weren't slagging anyone off? Were we?
Oh, I think I got stuck into various Adelaide attractions.
Oh, the Veal Gardens copped it.
Yeah, they copped it.
Ann Wills copped it.
Did you have a go at the new tram line?
Massively.
Yeah. Inappropriate references to shallow bush graves, that usually does it.
Moles balls. Had a slag off at them.
Oh, me balls! That was probably the comment that
probably my
had
fault,
switching
son.
it off.
All right, that's a gaff.
That's a
or
gaff.
A blunder, whatever you want to call it.
Have you made one, Ed?
I haven't, but when I look for these things, I turn to the... What, Richard?
No, great. I'm looking forward to it.
Turn to the community newspaper and the thumbs up, thumbs down column that Nikki Hamilton's mother sends to
Oh,
me.
that's a great column.
Here we go. Thumbs down to the McRae resident who repeatedly comes into our property and leaves cat food on our front lawn and empties cat food tins onto our doorstep. We do not have a cat, as the signs on the trees clearly indicate. If you have a cat, feed it in your own yard. Our dog is on a strict organic diet and you're not helping.
Who's doing that? Someone's getting a tin of cat food and doing the old hitting the bottom of it, and it's coming out in the solid chunk.
What does that sign say? I gotta have time to read it. Got to cat food this lawn.
Is it just a Labrador regurgitating it?
No, someone's taking the trouble to empty the kitty food. It's very funny.
Okay, well, is that a gaff? I get.
It's a bit of a blunder.
Incidentally, who's getting thumbs up this week?
Thumbs up to Bill.
Oh, yeah, he's done great work.
Done well.
All year.
Excellent stuff.
Done work.
Mr. Marsden, anything you want to get out of your system? Gaff-wise?
Gaff-wise, okay, the very first wedding that I emceed, I would have been about maybe 21 or 22.
Oh, yeah,
And I've emceed a few of my time. It's great fun.
Yeah.
Always like to do it for friends and family.
Didn't you do the Elton John wedding?
Oh,
I
he
think
did
was
actually,
this
yeah,
year?
And that went well. I'm not a jinx at all. So I got up and was talking about the bride and the groom.
Yeah.
And the groom had only been with the bride for a number of months. Before that, he had a long-time girlfriend. Whose name I happened to drop during a speech.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the former girlfriend when welcoming the bride and groom. Not great.
Wow.
Job.
And very difficult to dig yourself out of.
Hi, Darren.
Mate, I was on my honeymoon with my second wife. We'd had tea and I'd had a few little drinks and we met these people and I introduced her as my first wife.
Brilliant. She wouldn't have minded that at all.
Used the wrong name.
Yeah, no. Did she mind that at all, Darren? Was she?
Well,
cool
I
with that?
didn't even notice, mate. She let it roll until we left that night and then I copped it.
Yeah, it's always good when it's been bottled up for a few hours, I find. Are you still together?
Yeah, mate, we're 16 years now, but needless to say, there was no hanky-panky that night.
Oh, just because you called her your first wife's name.
Yeah, well, they're pretty similar. One was called Nikki and the other one's Kathy.
I can't even tell the difference. Did
No.
you say the same name twice?
I think you said the same name twice there, Bob and Say.
Yeah, well, that was my defence.
And he's only been in the country for a few days. He already wants to move here. Billy West, thanks for coming in.
Jet lag.
Let's just lay out.
I heard naked girls were good for jet lag.
Yeah, we can arrange some of those if you'd like.
Thank you, my friend.
Nicky,
no problem. Thank you. I might be 56, but I can still fog up a few windshields.
Yeah, well.
Are you really 56?
Yes, I am.
You said that earlier. I thought you were just joking.
No.
Wow, doing well. What's the secret to looking like that at 56?
I'm a vegan. I don't know what that means, to anybody, but...
Yeah. See,
I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and I had enough meat for 12 lifetimes. I'm telling you, it's all where the stockyards were. So we had meat for breakfast and meat for lunch and meat for dinner and meat for dessert. And then before you went to bed, you said, have a nice glass of meat, nice glass of warm meat. Drink your
Lovely
meat.
tripe shake.
Drink your meat and shut up.
so that is the secret, because we do have people. We had Chris Isaac in here, and he's like about 53, looks about 35. And we had Richard E. Grant, he's like 49.
Alan Ruck?
Looks about 30, and you're going, what's the secret? And apparently, no drinking and no drugs is the answer.
But he might have had his time. I sure did.
Okay.
I chased the buzz to Peru when I was, years ago in the 80s. Me and a bunch of chowderheads went down to Peru. It's like, why don't we just go where they make the stuff? Because it was so expensive and it was always lousy, the Coke. It's like this. I've been clean for 22 years, but we went down to Peru.
Wow.
And I almost got killed like many times. But you're so high that you're walking in and out of the jaws of death and you don't even know it. I had an Uzi shoved up my nose because they were shooting people in the streets. The kids were protesting a bus hike fair. And they mean business. All of a sudden, I saw an Uzi for the first time in my life, and I see someone get shot. I run over to the guy and start screaming at him, and I forget where I am. That passport means you're giving up everything where you came from. And the guy turns around, and he realizes I'm American, and the only thing that saved my life was that it would be too much trouble. The photojournalists would be there, and it would be like a big mess, So he just stuck it up my nose, and he went, vamos, And I realized.
And you complied.
Yeah, I did comply.
Okay, once you've got the Uzi up your nose,
but I was
probably...
so high. I was throwing money out the window. Nobody has money for a bus here. I'm throwing change out the window.
We'll all.
But you've come good, and people who are listening to your voice now and don't recognise it, of course, Futurama. I mean, it's every night now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
On Channel 10, so you're heard every night. So.
Yeah, man, all this constant exposure to radiation is making me thirsty.
Good news, everyone. Bad news.
Which is your favourite voice to do?
I love doing Dr. Zoidberg because he has all this cool meat hanging off his face.
He certainly does.
Yes, get me a sandwich from the dumpster. And leave the nuggets on it, young lady.
And I do Zap Brannigan, Master of Space Time, and everything else in between. And, winner of this year's Modesty Award.
Now, am I wrong in saying that voice was originally Phil Hartman?
You know what? Everybody says that.
Is that not true?
And, well, they wanted him to be that guy.
Pardon me.
Because he was into that.
Yeah.
And he died. He
Yeah,
was
that's
murdered.
right. That's true.
And by his own wife. And the thing was, I knew him before that. Like, I lived in New York, and he was in L.A., and he called my house one day, and I'm on my way home, and my wife called me up and she said, guess who called here? And he was looking for you. I said, who? She said, Phil Hartman. And I said, I mean, I know enough people in my business that could pull an elaborate joke like that.
Right.
And, it could be Maurice LaMarche, like Pinky in the Brain or whatever. I know a million people.
Well, Phil Hartman, for people who don't know, was Lionel Hutz.
Yep, News Radio, of course.
And, of course, Troy McClure on The Simpsons.
But I knew him from Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
But he called me up and he said, I'm just calling to tell you I'm a big fan of yours. And I was, like, blown away. And I kind of said, I kind of know who you are, too. And I said, you took the spark plugs to that car with you when you left Saturday Night Live. And, yeah, we all got to move on, he said. And he said, listen, you ought to come out to L.A. And I said, I don't know what, I'm in radio. I was working with Howard Stern then.
Yeah, wow.
He said, you should come. I just quit the show, as a matter of fact. And he called and he said, if you ever come out here, I'll help you get acclimated. And he did. When I went out there, we did an M&M's commercial, and he played my nemesis, Chalky Bar. This strutting candy bar. It's like, I really don't even melt. And I go, I don't know if that's true. And then he melts, of course, and he's screaming. But he had that, he always loved that big, like, disc jockey voice.
Yeah.
And when we talked, we found out we had this common love of those old, big, dumb announcers. Who loved far and away above anything else in this world the sound of their own voice. I carry my balls in a wheelbarrow. This is Johnny Benton, the human cannon, saying what's he's got to come out, and that's what rock and roll is all about. Before he slap against the friends here, 1956, Mr. Roy Orbison. Yeah. And then he said, coming to the Worcester Centrum. Meh. They didn't want to give birth to the word because it's so precious. It's like, maybe I can milk some more out of this.
Phil Hartman, is there a funnier impression than Phil Hartman's Charlton Heston? That's one of the all-time greats, I think.
I just thought he was so brilliant, and it was so sad, because he was one of the good guys.
One of the nice people, I hear.
One of the great nice guys, and so it restored faith, that once these jackals get tons of money and fame, it's like they're too good to talk to you. And,
right.
No, he was just real genuine, and he showed me around a little bit. He told me, you got to come out here. He said, do you ever do any auditions for movies? And I said, no, really. No one thinks to ask me that. And he says, you should be. He was so generous.
Right.
I mean, real generous.
Well,
like not insecure in any way.
Well, that's all well and good, but enough about that bloke. We want to talk about more about your amazing resume,
Mr.
Billy
Me
West.
and the world within.
Billy West is sitting in for this hour. He's done every voice you can think of. Futurama every night on Channel 10. Ren and Stimpy. So many movies, so many of your cartoon voices. But I know it's a specialist subject of yours. Actors being hired to do voiceovers for films just on the fact that, the name alone will get people in.
That's a weird notion because there isn't a scintilla, a speck of evidence that the movie makes any more money than if you had Will Smith doing the voice, or if you had, my pals, Maurice LaMarche or Jeff Bennett or any of these guys. Right. But I don't know what it is. We used to save their asses. They used to come to us and say, listen, we don't have any money, and we were wondering if you could do 10 characters. We've only got X amount of money. And you'd say, well, yeah, what do you want? But there was never any money. Right. Nobody in Hollywood has any money. There's always like, we don't have any money. You may have heard of us. We're a little startup company called Disney. Nobody has any money. It's like it's the world's stupidest businessmen. Nobody makes any money. I don't get it.
But when did this craze begin? I mean, in the old days, you would have someone like George Sanders who had an amazing voice. So he was perfect for the lion in the Jungle Book. But when did it get to the point where just, we'll get, Shia LaBeouf should be in this?
Yeah, let's get Cameron Diaz. Because she has a 9-foot mouth, Why? There's nothing coming out of it.
But who are the ones that
there might be something the other way.
Who do you, are there any that you do rate? Like your Eddie Murphy's, surely? Would you go along with some
I
of
would,
his work?
because he understands characters that transform the vocal cord. In other words, you don't go in and do a voice of a character who looks exactly like you, and then they tell you he should sound like you. But a lot of them don't know how to act sonically, and it's theater of the mind. I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and I was saying, I could say I'm sitting here naked with a tinfoil hat on, and
it looks lovely.
Yeah, thank you very much. You want to see my scar? I just had my prostate taken out. Yeah, I beat cancer, everybody.
Lovely.
It's this evil little blintz. Instead of blueberry, it's filled with cancer, and they take it out of you. And I asked the woman if I could have it. She says, "God, what for?" I said, I want to use the Christmas ornament this year and celebrate the fact that I'm alive,
If we're going to fake a round of applause for a man who's beaten cancer, fantastic. You've kicked its ass.
That's right. And I want everybody to do that who has that.
Yeah, back on the mic.
But with the celebrities, to me, there's a big deal about it because they won't see us for roles for features, animated features.
Right.
They won't audition us because they already know who's going to do the voice. And to me, there's a big difference between being a celebrity and being an artist, you know?
Yes.
In America, you can be a celebrity for farting the national anthem.
That guy's great.
Well,
Have
yeah.
you seen that guy?
He's with us on Monday.
Where's my Emmy?
I
salute
wish,
that.
I wish I could
Where's
say
my Oscar?
that he was doing that with his mouth. But something that you have done, I mean, am I right in saying you've occasionally been asked to fill in, look, quite a few times it seems, for people who've died, and you've taken, did you do Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd for the Looney Tunes movie? Was that?
Yes, it was Space Jam.
Wow, right.
And I was working on the Howard Stern show at the time. It was 1994, maybe. And he was producing and directing Howard Stern's movie. Private Parts,
Yeah,
which was a training film for every little nipper disc jockey in the United States. And now they're all doing his show. You know? Hey, Robin, I got a fart. And all of a sudden puts his ass up to the mic. And she's like,
That's a show.
Yeah, that's a show.
We want to
It was
talk
that
about-
uterine cancer song parody, Robin.
We wanted to talk about that show, but just tell us, what was it like, you know, filling the shoes of Mel Blanc, surely the king of this kind of work, really?
It was miserable.
Really?
Because everybody that stuck their head into the room while we were recording had their own perception of what the character should be. And meanwhile, he was whatever director was directing him, that's what he was. Sometimes he was a little gentler. Sometimes he was a little more witty. Some of he was just crazy. But depending on the director, whether it was Friz Freleng or Robert McKimson or Bob Clampett, you know, the famous directors.
Yeah.
And so I'd be doing it, and somebody would poke their head in and go, he sounds too Brooklyn. And I'd be like, thanks. You know, and then they'd leave, and then some other schmo would come up and go, you know, he sounds too Jewish. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you very
What
much.
about, didn't you also take over for Shaggy and Scooby-Doo from Casey Kasem?
Yeah, that happened afterwards, but I only did one episode. Like, when I came out of Space Jam, I did bugs like,
Oh, and I got to be close to the most important religious figure that we have in America, Michael Jordan. And I got paid in carrots, too, Doc.
and I did Elmer Fudd, which is the weirdest voice in the world because it's two gears. He shifts. Everybody thinks they can do it, and they'll go,
Oh, you rascal, you wabbit.
Yeah.
and it's not that. It's like he's a 3-year-old, like a total innocent, and he's walking through the woods, and he's brain dead. A brain dead hunter is a terrific image. You know, like somebody who took one. And, you know what I mean? Pow, and he's got the little hat with the earmuffs on, and he comes in, he goes, shh,
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits.
You know, and then all of a sudden he'd shift gears into high gear, and he'd be like, oh, wait, come out of there. I'll bless you, wabbit. Say your prayers. And he goes, oh, my goodness, I've killed the little bunny wabbit. You know, and he'd become like childlike.
Is that the hardest one to do? Which is
It's pretty hard, you know, because sometimes I can do it right and sometimes I can't. But I admit my flaws. But I got the gig.
beautiful. Look,
And the other one you were talking about after that, Shaggy.
yeah.
Well,
because Casey Kasem's still alive.
of course he is. But the thing is I said I was a vegan, you know, but he's like a militaristic vegan.
Is he just?
And he would read the scripts and he'd go, you know, come on, Scoop, let's go get a hot dog. and then he would go,
Why does it always have to be a hot dog?
I said, what do you mean?
I mean, can't they eat, like, veggie snacks? Like a veggie burger or a veggie hot dog?
They're vegging out later in the back of that van.
And so he really had a problem with it, and he didn't do it for a while, so they made this one called Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. And I was doing Shaggy for that, and, you know, I mean, it was a one-off, really.
Right.
I don't have the emotional investment in characters I didn't create.
Right,
like,
right,
I'm a
of
day
course.
player. It's like somebody picks you to be Bugs Bunny. It's like, if you base your life around that, you're insane, because it's a day player job. They can just tell you to take a hike next week. Oh, we get this other guy.
Yeah,
and believe me,
okay,
they
yeah,
always do.
Right.
They don't want to hang anybody's name on that.
Okay.
Because the cartoon character never asks for a raise, but the name will.
Who knew that the cartoon voice business was this ruthless and
It is
this
ruthless.
bitchy?
Yeah, they don't care which voiceover is beating up the other one in an alleyway for the gig, as long as the guy doesn't ask for too much money.
Hey, you mentioned Howard Stern. I'm a massive fan of Howard Stern, but the problem is in this country, people only know him for the headlines, for when he's got lesbians nude in the studio.
Or when the FCC goes after him,
Yeah,
because he's saying things that everybody else is saying too, except they'll target him.
But they're just like the car chases in the movie. The actual show itself is a bloke saying what he thinks.
Yes.
For often up to 5 or 6 hours a day. I was in New York listening to the Howard Stern show when it was on normal radio. I think it was meant to finish at 9 o'clock, and often he'd just go till 20 to midday.
I know, and the thing is somebody calls in, he goes, I notice you don't play any records. And he would go, we play plenty of music on this show. I just never get to it.
What a show.
No, it's really fun, and it was great being there because you got to just make fun of everybody, And
what was your role on the Howard Stern circus?
Whatever came up in conversation, whether it was a politician or whether it was, back then it was Rudy Giuliani was mayor of New York.
Yep, sure.
And he was one of these guys, he talked like this when he talked. He had a severe, like he was drowning in his own spittle. And now he's running for president. Yeah. And we're going, wait a minute, this is insane. This guy was like, some fascist, mayor of the city. It's like, that's right, Heil Hitler.
But you're living in a country where the entire cast of Predator are now in elected office, so
Oh, I know. You gotta be like famous in show business to be president now.
First it was just animated cartoon voices, now it's president.
I know, but you know what I have to say is that now they're running out of like celebrities that can actually like tickle the ribbon in a microphone. How bitter
Billy,
am I?
You know what? We don't mind. This is the show for it. Get it out of your system.
I'll get it out of my system.
This is what we do every day.
Here I am 10 years too late, and I'm doing a James Gandolfini impression. This is the last effing Sunday dinner I ever have at this house. Meadow, take off that eye makeup. You look like a whore. I'll wrap my stoner around your head and jumpstart you with it. Dr. Melfi, I think I got a problem.
Mr. Soprano, you're suffering from secondary anxiety with delusions of persecution.
Oh, Christ, good. I thought I had dandruff.
That's a very hard one to do when the kids are out of school. Very nicely done, Billy.
Hi.
Very good. Is he threatening not to show up for that debate on Sunday with John Howard?
That big debate, in the town. Is it Town Hall or something in Canberra?
I don't know, but is the Worm going to be there?
And a lot of talk.
The Worm might be there, but no Kevin Rudd.
Well, it'd be a pretty sad sight, wouldn't it? John Howard by himself, not even a worm for company, Tony. I agree with that. It would be a bit pitiful.
Okay, I don't think I said pitiful, but okay, fair enough.
I think a weirder sight would be John Howard just with a worm for company, Richard Scary style.
That's right.
Lowly worm.
Yeah.
Now, I just must, of course, mention the fabulous listeners, and those comments on that petition on the internet are just hilarious.
Oh, man. I've got so many here.
You've brought them all in?
Carl Stefanovic is the best one.
Oh, Carl Stefanovic is just a series of binary code.
Yeah, Carl Stefanovic writes 0110, Tony Martin 0110.
And you know what? He means it.
He does.
That's the thing.
Elijah Scroat writes, Richard's voice is tattooed upon my girlish heart. Brad Phillips, people want ducks and get this.
Yeah.
Rebecca, I need my regular drunken New Zealander fixes from Police 10-7.
Oh, we're going to have to play some more of that at some point over the next 6 weeks.
It's too soon, Reese.
Oh, people remember everything we say.
It's lovely.
That's the thing. You've got to, and I love, there's a great letter to the Green Guide in Melbourne today that refers to our sketches as the astounding audio productions of Prisoner, Matt Dower. That's from Lucy Hamilton. Prisoner, Matt Dower. I got him this morning. He was handcuffed to the desk.
Fair enough.
Brought in his own handcuffs from home.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make a point.
Speaking of which, Matthew, those 2 sound effects I've asked for, that was 6 or 7 seconds ago. Where are they?
Yeah, right. What are they? Anything particular?
I can't tell you. Ruin the joke.
Ruin the joke. Okay.
Professionalism.
Killer bees would be my guess. Despite the news, the exclusives keep on coming. What have you got, Ed?
Well, look at this, Tone.
Yeah.
The doyen of the screen, Australia's favourite daughter.
Who's that?
We've landed an exclusive interview with Nicole Kidman. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. You are one of the world's most glamorous women. Your films have lit up the screen for so long now. The list is endless. How do you feel your latest film is going to go? Okay, Nicole Kidman, thanks for thanks for your time.
Okay. Yeah, that didn't sound like our Nicole. I'm sorry. You know, I can understand Katrina Roundtree, there's a horse. But what's going on there? Is this we've been sacked so we can do anything we want? Is that what that is?
I just thought it was funny.
That's usually where the trouble starts.
I just imagine her sitting at home in the love nest with Keith. You know, like, oh, these quails are nice.
Yes.
Let's
float that on a national platform.
And then Antonia coming in, giving it.
You'll be imagining that on your own from now on.
Yes, I will.
Oh, look, the emails are incredible because I say I'm not going to go to bed every night until I've read all of them because people go to so much trouble.
Goodness me.
2 or 3 pages long. I'm getting no sleep at all.
Yeah.
No sleep. And then
How small is your penis, Tony Martin? Is the real question there?
Oh, no, not those emails.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Right.
And by the way, that segment is not till the second hour. Yeah, I'm not prepared for that one. And then, you know, we come in every... The great thing is they're letting us stay on air. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't normally happen.
No, that's kind.
That's right.
That's very generous.
We're happy.
But every time I see someone walking towards the studio, like I looked up before and in my peripheral vision, I could see Lee Simon and Brian Mannix walking towards the studio. Okay, hang on.
What a team. The dark and dangerous pass right there.
Are they coming in to sit in these chairs?
There's chuck everywhere and the seats are disgusting. And graffiti is the worst.
Yeah. Sick of that chuck everywhere.
I know. Finally, we'll be free of the chuck. So many songs, so many great songs have gone to air on Get This over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But do you remember this one?
Oh, yeah.
Look at what's happened to me. I can't believe it myself. Suddenly I'm a fan of Hillary Duff. Should have been Richard Musland. Believe it or not, I'm only having one lunch. I never thought I could feel so free. Find a way to do some actual preparation. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's Ed Cavalier.
This, I think, was Ed's own midweek challenge. We did that last year.
Absolutely right, Tone. And from memory, it was smooth and went off without a hitch.
But full of broken promises.
Absolutely. And I realise that I've been, you know, maybe just talking it up and not delivering.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that guy anymore, Rich.
Okay.
I don't want to be the, you know, the dad that's not there on the birthday.
You've got 5.5 weeks to set things right.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I'm starting at the top.
Yeah.
I said that I'd write a power ballad. Now, I said that about halfway through last year. Now, not even Rihanna took that long to write Umbrella. You know, and that was far more complex. So me and Matty D have got into the synth tank.
Have you?
And this is the way it's going to work. We're going to play the start of our power ballad.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go up on the website, presumably.
Yeah.
And then, not my department. And then we're going to get the listeners to add lines as they see fit. I'm going to record it. Boom. Comes out. Boom. Straight to number 1. Boom. I'm touring with the Tin Lids. Thalasar Stories of the Sea on stage. Dean Guy's doing backup. Dean Guy's going to be singing backup for this guy.
Yeah.
So what?
CDB's in the wings.
So you're like sort of getting the listeners started on this. You're like the horse fluffer, as it were, and then the listeners
what?
Will just fit into the grooves that you're laying down today.
Yeah, you're laying the grooves, kids. All right, 2, 3, 4.
There's a cat castle in the sky. There's a castle in the sky. There are men whose bed spending too much time together. Tearing the past events and girls.
All right, kids.
That's as far as you've got.
Talking about that took ages.
I actually saw Richard, I've never seen him do this before, just lift the headphones away from his ears a few inches during that.
Okay. So that's what we've got. It's called Castles of Thunderbox. The basic premise is that we live in a castle, that we spend all our time together.
Yeah.
And?
What were the lyrics there? Because they were slightly nasal for mine, and
There
I'm
was-
just trying to.
there's
I mean, I like the ambiguity of them.
Yeah.
I'm
You
just
have to
trying
put them
They're
up on the
clear as
website.
day. There's a castle in the sky. I don't remember the others, but they'll be on the website.
Even the author can't recite them. All right, well,
So that's what we're doing.
We're out of the blocks on that one.
Yeah.
Have we got an outro for this segment, Rich?
Yeah, sure thing.
I'm drinking recycled poo. I never thought I could feel so free. Completely in love with TV hopeful Jake Wall. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's Ed Cavalier. Get this at the new time of 2 o'clock.
Or in Adelaide, 3 o'clock.
On the Triple M Network.